Spider-Man snaps on a rooftop and violently smashes Deadpool into the ground. He slams him hard enough that Deadpool's head cracks against the roof. Spider-Man screams at him to leave him alone, fully furious and paranoid. Deadpool gets up and snaps his head back into place like it's nothing, joking that he's used to being hit but not usually with Spider-Man level strength. Spider-Man is paranoid and demands proof that this is really Deadpool. Deadpool calls Spider-Man crazy, then pulls out his gun and repeatedly shoots himself in the chest to prove he's real. He coughs through it and casually explains that it'll heal, confirming he's real. Spider-Man then pinches his face in frustration, saying he thought he fooled him earlier, and thanks Deadpool, but also admits Deadpool scares him. Deadpool jokes about bullets in the heart being nothing between friends, but Spider-Man tries to deny they're friends. Deadpool brings up how he found Spider-Man lying on the rooftop. Spider-Man claims he's basically the mayor of rooftops, explaining it as a dumb joke. Spider-Man asks why Deadpool was hang gliding over Manhattan, and Deadpool says he was scouting fancy hotels with empty penthouses to crash in for fun. Deadpool then notices the rooftop door has been webbed shut and asks why Spider-Man made him shoot himself in the first place. Spider-Man explains this nightmare has been going on for days. It started when he saved someone from a bus, but that person attacked him and then instantly vanished the next second. Deadpool then tells him, "You definitely still sound crazy." Spider-Man then says the next day he threw who he thought was Rhino, but it turned out to be a pregnant woman, and Deadpool finds that hilarious. "You threw a pregnant woman into a wall? I didn't even know I could love you more than I already did." Spider-Man explains that she vanished too, and later more attacks happened out of nowhere, someone trying to stab him. But when he dodged, no one was there. Deadpool cuts him off because he already understands the pattern. Spider-Man explains random people keep attacking and disappearing, and it got so bad he almost webbed everyone in fear. Then he heard laughter, and for a brief second he saw the Chameleon. No one else did. Chameleon turned a corner and was gone. Spider-Man says it hasn't stopped. Sometimes Chameleon doesn't even attack, he just whispers, and Spider-Man's Spidey sense won't stop humming. He can't go home or unmask because if Chameleon can track him in civilian form, it's over. Deadpool tells him to just beat the Chameleon like usual, but Spider-Man says it's different because he nearly hurt innocent people thinking they were Chameleon. He feels broken, exhausted, and desperate for sleep, but his spider sense won't allow it because he constantly feels Chameleon getting closer. I can feel him getting closer. I'm always feeling it. The webbed rooftop door suddenly gets cut open and forced wide as men come through, complaining about the sticky web and recognizing Spider-Man. Spider-Man panics and bolts, yelling for them to leave him alone. Deadpool chases him down the stairs, trying to calm him. Spider-Man escapes into an elevator vent, and Deadpool, still chasing, smacks right into the now closed elevator and bonks his head. Deadpool walks downstairs trying to think like Spider-Man and guess which floor he'd go to. Then he hears screams, decides screams are the best clue, and kicks into action. He opens a room door and finds Spider-Man holding a woman by the neck, lifting her up while everyone in the room watches in horror. Deadpool immediately realizes this is getting out of control and reacts with a horrified, "Ah, boy." Spider-Man insists the woman is the Chameleon and claims he saw her transform this time. The woman begs for mercy, saying she never thought Spider-Man was bad and pleading desperately. Spider-Man starts pulling her hair and says it's just a mask, clearly ready to rip her face off to prove it. Deadpool steps in as the voice of reason, telling Spider-Man not to do it. Deadpool says he understands paranoia and even relates to the enemies everywhere mindset, but he reminds Spider-Man, "But you're a good dude. Don't let Chameleon's mind-messing change that. I will help you. We can strategize." Deadpool physically pulls Spider-Man's hand off the woman and lets her run. Spider-Man admits Deadpool is the only person who's managed to prove he can still trust someone. Deadpool urges him to just let her go fully. And Spider-Man begins doubting himself, wondering if maybe he didn't actually see her change. The woman suddenly attacks for real, jamming a syringe into Spider-Man's neck and making him bleed. Deadpool instantly realizes she's the Chameleon and freaks out. Spider-Man weakens from the injection and struggles. Deadpool reacts brutally and throws the woman out the window, smashing through the glass, shouting for her to get out and basically wishing death on her, saying, Let the pavement punch you to death, you creepy weirdo. But even while collapsing, Spider-Man uses his web to catch her because he refuses to kill. He weakly reminds Deadpool they don't kill, and then he passes out completely. With Spider-Man unconscious, the office workers start crowding and gossiping over him. Shocked, Spider-Man is passed out in front of them. They start wondering what he looks like under the mask. Maybe he was somebody famous, even mentioning a reward and wanting just a peek. Deadpool snaps instantly, pulling his swords and shuts the entire crowd down. Seriously? I'm right here. That's enough talk about unmasking, everybody. Back to work. To your desks. Then Deadpool looks out the broken window and sees the chameleon has disappeared from the web, meaning he escaped again. Deadpool immediately takes control by firing his guns into the air and ordering a full evacuation, politely sarcastic about it, and the office workers run screaming out of the building. Deadpool drags Spider-Man into a room and checks if he's breathing, relieved that he is. He slams the door shut and starts thinking tactically. Chameleon is still inside the building, and if he's tracking Spider-Man, he could show up any second. Deadpool considers holding the door against anyone trying to enter, but then checks his ammo and realizes he's nearly out. He complains that he thought today was just supposed to be a fun hang gliding day. Deadpool then goes into full dramatic best friend mode, saying they're amazing friends and he has to protect Spider-Man. He says he's always believed in him, even when Spider-Man is a jerk, punches him, and has spider bots. Then Deadpool raises his fist and declares the plan. We're gonna chameleon the chameleon. Deadpool puts on Spider-Man's costume and complains about how outdated and uncomfortable superhero spandex is, basically saying it's 2014 and wedgies shouldn't exist anymore. Then he carefully takes off Spider-Man's masks without looking, following a super bro code rule. Don't out a fellow super bro. Deadpool then puts Spider-Man's mask on himself. He tells Spider-Man to finally get the sleep he needs while Deadpool draws Chameleon away from him. He openly states that he plans to kill Chameleon. Spider-Man, now unconscious, is dressed in Deadpool's costume. Deadpool kisses him on the head and promises, "Don't worry, I'll take the mask off when I shoot him so nobody thinks you did it." Deadpool, now fully committed to the plan and wearing Spider-Man's costume, leaps dramatically from a building, hyping himself up as he goes. "Let's see how you deal with somebody who's already insane, Chameleon," he yells excitedly while diving straight down, then crashes into a yellow taxi, completely wrecking it with a loud smash. He pops up like it's nothing and starts doing a full-on real Spider-Man performance in public, loudly announcing himself. "That's right, folks. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Don't talk to those posers in Times Square. Get your picture with the real deal." The crowd gathers, staring, but instead of admiration, they roast him. One guy insults Spider-Man, directly telling him he sucks. And another woman complains about finding one of Spider-Man's spy spiders in her bathroom, calling him a weirdo. A girl approaches Deadpool politely with her phone out and asks for a picture. Deadpool instantly accepts with enthusiasm and even calls her a true believer. Then awkwardly tries to explain his own logic about adults versus teens, clearly making it worse. The girl immediately notices something is off. She tells him his voice sounds weird. Deadpool quickly covers it up by claiming one of the losers in his rogues gallery tried to sedate him and now he's stuck with a nasty cold, coughing to sell the excuse. The girl suddenly shifts the tone and gets right up close into Deadpool's space, whispering, "A loser? Or a nemesis who hunted you ever since you were just a child, like me?" Deadpool freezes mid-thought, confused for a second. Then the realization hits him hard. This is the chameleon. He reacts instantly, but when he turns back, the girl is already gone, like she never existed. Deadpool spins around in disbelief, frustrated that the chameleon slipped away again even though Deadpool's trap went perfectly. Then, as Deadpool stands in the crowd with everyone staring at him, the chameleon's voice taunts him again, promising something stronger next time and threatening to drag him somewhere quiet. The threat becomes truly disturbing as the chameleon describes making a suit out of Spider-Man's skin, saying the next meeting could be minutes, hours, days, or even years away. But it's coming. Deadpool's eyes widen in disgust and alarm, and all he can manage to say is, "You're so creepy." Deadpool vents his frustration, then swings away through the city while thinking through the problem. He's confident he successfully fooled the Chameleon at first, but then realizes the Chameleon already adapted and noticed the voice difference. Meaning Deadpool has to go all in and perform Spider-Man more convincingly, non-stop. Deadpool panics internally because if the Chameleon figures out he's fake, he'll immediately return to the office where the real Spider-Man is unconscious, and that whole skin suit nightmare will happen. Deadpool decides he has to stay in character as long as it takes to lure the Chameleon out safety. While swinging, he hears a woman screaming for help and immediately drops into action, calling it a classic Spider-Man situation. He lands between a woman and a man mid-crime and is genuinely offended that someone would try to purse snatching in New York City, the literal superhero capital of the world. The thief smugly starts explaining his rule of Avengers, about how many purses he can steal per superhero sighting. But Deadpool doesn't let him finish. He kicks him in the face mid-sentence, shutting him down instantly. Deadpool casually returns the purse to the woman like it's no big deal and declares the situation easy. Then he remembers he's supposed to do proper Spider-Man cleanup, so he decides he needs to leave the criminal hanging for the police. He webs the guy up heavily, fully immobilizing him, then awkwardly considers that police response times aren't exactly fast, and carrying this guy around might be annoying. Deadpool gets an idea, snaps into action. He starts webbing the captured criminal directly onto a parked NYPD car, like he's delivering a package. He claps his hands proudly, much more efficient. Then he immediately switches focus back to the mission and starts scanning the city for Chameleon. Suddenly, he spots a random man nearby and aggressively grabs him by the shirt, yanking him forward while demanding to know if he's Chameleon. The poor guy freaks out and blurts out that he feels like he's about to pee his pants even though he literally just went to the bathroom. Deadpool quickly realizes he grabbed an innocent and apologizes. "Nah, you're good. Sorry, citizen." The guy escapes instantly. Deadpool then thinks out loud that he needs something else. Okay, what's another super Spidey Manny activity to do? Just can't aimlessly swing around town all day. It's already doing murder on my lats. Right then, danger appears. A snake hisses and curls around his leg. Deadpool reacts in surprise, lifting his foot as snakes begin sliding all around him. The situation escalates rapidly. More and more snakes flood into the street in huge numbers, creating panic everywhere. Civilians scream and scatter as snakes slither across the ground and even coil around people. Deadpool watches the chaos, and despite the danger, he actually seems satisfied because it's a recognizable villain-type scenario. He gives a confident thumbs up, smiling, "Animal-themed villain? Classic Spider-Man." Deadpool tracks the snake swarm and realizes they're all moving in the same direction, toward a specific building. He follows immediately, barging in like a hero arriving on cue, announcing he's here for whoever the snake person is behind this. Inside, he meets the villain, Master, an intimidating figure with a snake-themed armor and a hood, speaking with exaggerated drawn-out s sounds. Master dramatically calls out Spider-Man and claims his life is about to be controlled by him, warning Spider-Man to leave or the Earth will eventually be covered and conquered. Deadpool mocks the villain's name, saying it's just Master with an extra M. He demands to know what the actual plot is. Master proudly explains he intends to take the facility and the city hostage, using his snakes to control everything. A researcher jumps in and explains the facility's work. They specialize in synthesized tissue and they do cloning work with mice. The scientist explains that if the mix of matter is correct, their machine can convert matter into an instant mouse. Master reveals his motivation, using this technology to create an unlimited food supply for his army of snakes, essentially feeding them forever so his takeover is unstoppable. Deadpool is completely unimpressed and bluntly declares the plan dumb. Then he builds himself up by calling Spider-Man a champion against dumb, almost like a motivational speech to stay in character. He starts listing all the ridiculous villains Spider-Man has fought. Let's see, fat guy in a rhino outfit, old man with wings, a variety of goblins, sand, that is a person, water, that is a person, octopus doctor. I am a champion against dumb. The fight begins instantly as Master attacks using a snake strike. A snake bites Deadpool in the face, making him recoil and scream. and Deadpool violently yanks the snake away and swings it around like a weapon. In the chaos, he smashes Master backward into machinery and electronics, causing a major destructive impact that sets up the disaster about to happen. The damaged equipment sparks and malfunctions violently. Master is electrocuted and screams in pain as electricity surges through the systems. The researchers panic because the machine's matter-converting energy is now loose and unstable. Deadpool responds like he doesn't care, but the researcher urgently explains what's happening. The machine is reading the psychokinetic connection between Master and his snakes, meaning it interprets them as a single connected batch of matter. The batch is now being converted into something else. Deadpool initially thinks that's good. Bad guy and deadly snakes becoming mice sounds like a win to him. But the researcher corrects him. Not mice, mouse. Immediately, the transformation completes. Master becomes a massive, monstrous creature, a gigantic, grotesque mega mouse, roaring and radiating energy. The creature bursts out violently, breaking through the building and tearing the structure apart as it escapes. The giant mouse Master rampages through the city. The lead researcher quickly analyzes the situation. He explains that because this creature was built using extreme energy conversion, the structure is unstable. There may be a strong outer husk, but the internal tissue is less connected and vulnerable. If Spider-Man can injure those weaker internal areas, the entire monster should collapse and fall apart. Deadpool swings into action immediately. Jump in his mouth and rip it up. Done it before? Not a problem. He launches himself onto the huge mouse creature. While doing it, he even thinks about practical stuff like having to clean. But then, everything changes. Deadpool gets hit by a sniper shot from a helicopter behind him. The shooter is surprised Spider-Man didn't dodge, and the pilot responds coldly that it was luck and orders focus, calling Spider-Man a menace and telling the sniper to take him down. Deadpool lands on top of a building after getting shot, rubbing the blood from his wound and trying to stay dramatic about it. He says it's a good thing he wore spider armor, which is apparently the only reason he's not bleeding out right now. He looks up at the helicopter hovering above him, clearly annoyed, and lets out an irritated grunt. Then he fires a web straight onto the sniper's face and yanks it hard while saying, "Get over here!" The sniper gets dragged forward, pulled out toward the rooftop edge. Inside the helicopter, the pilot panics, with one of them nervously asking if they can just leave already. Deadpool grabs the sniper's walkie-talkie and hears police chatter warning that backup is coming, and that nobody should let Spider-Man near the giant mouse because who knows what he'll do. Deadpool reacts like that's the dumbest message ever, yelling that he's literally trying to punch the mouse until it stops being a problem. Since they won't let him near it, he decides to use their helicopter instead. He threatens that he's going to send the helicopter into the situation and tells them to hug tight because he won't be sending them with it. Then he tosses the walkie aside and shoots webbing toward the helicopter. He uses the web to snag both pilots at once and then suddenly rips them out of the helicopter, dragging them toward the rooftop. Both pilots scream as they get yanked through the air at the same time. Deadpool punches both of them in midair, knocking them out instantly while cheerfully saying, "Toasty!" With the pilots unconscious, the helicopter starts losing control and drifting. Deadpool quickly webs his own feet to the rooftop so he doesn't get pulled off of the building while trying to handle the helicopter. He stretches his arms and shoulders like he's about to lift weights and says he needs to limber up because Spider-Man throws around multi-ton stuff every day like it's nothing. He then shoots a web line onto the helicopter and starts pulling, straining hard and making a sound as he begins forcing the helicopter's direction, talking to himself while he pulls it into position. He hypes himself up. Then he starts yelling at the giant mouse to turn around, insulting it the entire time. As he pulls harder, the ground beneath him cracks from the force. His Spider-Man costume starts tearing apart violently, muscles literally bulging and popping through the suit as if it can't contain him. He keeps narrating how his own muscles are exploding, fully aware he's basically ripping the suit into shreds. Finally, he swings the helicopter directly into the giant mouse's open mouth and then a huge explosion as the helicopter detonates inside its mouth. The massive monster effect collapses, and the giant mouse form breaks apart. The master transforms back into his normal self along with all of his snakes, undoing the forced combined mouse transformation. The snakes start raining down from above, falling everywhere. Master is arrested by NYPD officers, still furious and screaming insults at Spider-Man. He shouts a long curse, claiming Spider-Man only captured him because the master and his snakes were transformed into their natural prey. A weak, pathetic thing. He swears he'll get the snakes back in return. Up on the rooftop, one of the pilots who was knocked out earlier secretly wakes up. He quietly removes the webbing from his face and stands behind Deadpool with a creepy smile. Deadpool, not noticing, chuckles to himself like he's momentarily forgotten what he was doing. Then, suddenly, the pilot stabs Deadpool in the shoulder with a syringe. Deadpool screams out from the shock. The pilot reveals himself as the Chameleon, mocking Deadpool for letting his guard down even faster this time. Deadpool begins slurring immediately from whatever was injected, his body getting heavy and sleepy, his speech turning goofy and confused. He drunkenly compliments Chameleon's move and compares him to Voldemort's non-magic brother, basically roasting him while half unconscious. Chameleon gets suspicious and asks what's wrong, noting that Spider-Man hasn't been acting like himself all day. Right then, Spider-Man reappears, wearing Deadpool's costume and kicks Chameleon hard from behind. Spider-Man brags that Diet Dr. Pepper doesn't taste like the real thing, and says a power nap makes all the difference, calling it his secondary mutation. Chameleon reacts instantly, grabbing Spider-Man and holding him by the neck, surprised the two of them swapped outfits. He says it's only a momentary delay to his revenge. Deadpool encourages Spider-Man to get him in his slow, sleepy speech. Then Chameleon transforms into Spider-Man 2, also dressed in Deadpool costume, creating two identical Spider-Men facing each other. Both of them speak in sync. "I will." "Oh no, he's copying me." Deadpool is still drugged and wobbling, calling himself a very sleepy man, and whining that he doesn't have time for this. He demands proof of who the real Spider-Man is. One of the Spider-Man tells Deadpool he can figure it out. The other one leans into the emotional angle and says, "You're my amazing friend?" That instantly hits Deadpool's feelings, and he raises his gun right up to that Spider-Man's head, warning him not to play with his emotions. The other Spider-Man reacts with relief and tells Deadpool he made the right choice, but Deadpool then casually decides he likes being Spider-Man and announces he'll shoot both anyway, choosing to shoot the other one first. The real Spider-Man screams no, and Deadpool takes the reaction as the final confirmation. Literally going ding ding ding, he fires, shooting the wrong one in the leg. The injured Spider-Man screams as blood sprays, revealing that one was Chameleon. Deadpool explains his logic. Real Spidey wouldn't want Deadpool killing anyone. Now exposed, Chameleon drops the disguise and returns to his true form while clutching the bleeding shot in his leg. Spider-Man threatens him, saying he'll spare him from becoming Deadpool's roommate only if Chameleon explains how he pulled everything off. Deadpool adds, "Oh, my dishes are a mess. You clean them, then I shoot you again." Deadpool's healing factor kicks back in fully and he announces he's feeling better. Chameleon finally explains his whole plan. He tracks Spider-Man because Spider-Man's new web formula leaves trace radiation that's ridiculously easy to pinpoint. Chameleon says Spider-Man couldn't stop bragging after capturing the Sinister Six, showing off how superior he was and how his new webbing was better than ever, making himself an easy target. But Chameleon didn't know that until recently Spider-Man's body was inhabited by Otto Octavius, who bragged constantly and had questionable ethics that upset people. Deadpool tells Spider-Man he should probably fix that. Then both Spider-Man and Deadpool punch Chameleon in the face at the same time, perfectly synced, both calling him creep. Later that night, Deadpool and Spider-Man are back in their proper costumes, sitting on top of a building beneath the night sky. Deadpool explains, "And that's when you showed up. Honestly, I think it went pretty well." Spider-Man is eating a hot dog and answers with skeptical, "Uh-huh, we'll see about that." Spider-Man then pulls a Daily Bugle newspaper toward him, and he leaves money behind for it. As they read, they do a fist bump. Spider-Man thanks Deadpool for the assist, and Deadpool calls it an amazing friend team-up. But Spider-Man also says he knows he'll be spending the next month repairing the damage Deadpool did to the suit. The Daily Bugle headline reads, "Hope for Spider-Man." Then Deadpool suddenly snatches the newspaper away. Shocked, he yells about the cat's revival closing and calls it absurd. Spider-Man, looking at the newspaper, just facepalms. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.